Okay, so this lesson is the progressive laws. Legislation means laws. And so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the directions: match the problem to the federal or state law that solves the issue. Here is the problem before the progressive era. These are listing all the problems, 1 through 8 on this side, 9 through 15 on this side. So our job is to place the date and name of the law that solves the problem in this column, and then what did the law say, what was the law's impact in this column. Now, actually this is normally a presentation of how we normally do this assignment in class. These would be wall placards. These would be placed on the wall around the room, and you would walk around with the clipboard and figure out which law solves which problem in this column. The left-hand column, what's there is the problem. You got to figure out the law that solves it, and then in your own words, it'll say what it does on the placard, but you cannot copy it verbatim. You need to write it in your own words. Okay? Now, I'm not going to write everything because this one here, I believe you can do with just directions. All right? So let's go ahead and get started on this one. But this third column you're doing completely on your own. I'm not going to write it in because I want you to do the thinking. All right? Okay, so here goes the first one. The United States Forest Service, 1905, managed the nation's water and timber resources, regulated the timber industry. Okay? You can pause the video and see if you can figure out which one it is. It's 1 through 16. Be careful on this one because it sounds a lot like another one. So which problem does the United States Forest Service of 1905 solve? Okay, so if you said number 3, you are correct. If you said number 2, you're incorrect. But it was a good guess. Okay, so you're going to write United States Forest Service, 1905. This prevents the companies from going into U.S. forests. It's regulated. They can go in there and get natural resources, but it's very regulated so that they won't go in there and take all the resources at once. Okay? Now, you need to, in your own words, write this concept, but I do not want you copying it. Put it in your own words. Managed the nation's water and timber resources, regulated the timber industry. Okay, you can pause the video, and when you're done writing, you can start it up again. All right, so here is the next one. The Pure Food and Drug Act, 1906, banning shipping of impure food and mislabeling of food and drugs. Which one does this go to? I'll give you a moment. You can pause the video so you can try to figure it out on your own. That's what we're in class for. We're in here to think. So pause the video and see if you can figure out which one it goes with. All right, if you pick number 4, medicines sometimes contain deadly poisons and do not have to be inspected before they are sold to people, you are correct. So the Pure Food and Drug Act. Now in these two, you should be thinking who was president when that was passed? So far? That's right. If you're saying Teddy Roosevelt, you are correct. Now, in your own words, these banned shipping of impure food and mislabeling of food and drugs, write that over in what the law says and what's the law's impact. In your own words. Can you pause the video? All right, let's go to the next one. Meat Inspection Act, 1906, required the inspection of all meats. All right. If you said number 1, you are exactly right. The problem was chopped meat sometimes contained rat hairs, wood splinters, bits of roe, pieces of spoiled meat. The Meat Inspection Act is the law that solved this problem. This 2 is Teddy Roosevelt. Let's just put a TR beside these just for the heck of it. Okay, TR for Teddy Roosevelt. All right, now in your own words, what did the Mean Inspection Act do? Now, I also want you to go ahead and just put, remember, we learned about Upton Sinclair writing The Jungle. So just go ahead and put his name here because he influenced the passage of this law. Okay, so what did the Mean Inspection Act do? Write it in here, in your own words. Okay, oh wait, The Jungle. Okay. All right, we're going to go to the next one. You can pause the video if you need to write. Okay, Department of Labor, 1913, created to promote the welfare and employment of working people. Which problem did this law correct? Give you a moment. Remember, there's two sides, so make sure you're looking at all of them when you make your decision. Pause the video for you so you have plenty of time. Okay, so if you chose number 5, you are correct. The problem was the government does not care about the welfare of workers. So the Department of Labor. (1913). This is Taft. Taft was president when that happened. Okay, in your own words, write what the Department of Labor did. Do not copy the words on the placard, please. Okay, you can pause the video. I'm moving on to the next one. 16th Amendment gave Congress the power to levy taxes on income, encouraging economic equality. I'll give you a moment. Pause the video to look. Remember, there's two sides. Okay, so if you picked number 14, you are correct. Personal incomes used to not be taxed. It's not really a problem. It's just that money was needed to, the progressives said money was needed to pay for programs to help people in bad situations, government programs to help society, and it needed to be paid for, so they went and taxed your paycheck. 16th Amendment, 1913, Taft was president. Okay, and remember, it was the Populist Party's idea originally. Okay, so right, Congress gave the power to levy taxes on income, encouraging economic equality. Put that in your own words over here. Pause the video to do that. I'm moving on to the next one. 17th Amendment. Which one of these problems the 17th Amendment addressed? Look at both sides. Pause the video if you need more time. All right, the 17th Amendment. It's number 12. Okay, so if you chose 12, you are correct. 17th Amendment. Well, remember, the buzzword for remembering the 16th Amendment on our amendment wall is tax. Okay? 17th Amendment is 1913. It was Taft. And, of course, this was another idea of the Populist Party. Okay? In your own words, do not copy. On here it says provided for the direct election of senators, giving citizens more control over government. And that, I just want you to put on here also more voting power to the people. Okay, so put your answer in your own words. Pause the video for more time. I'm moving on to the next one. 19th Amendment. Is that this one? No. 19th Amendment. Granted suffrage, which means the right to vote to all citizens. th Amendment. Okay, you can pause for more time to figure out which one it is. And if you chose number 11, you are correct. The 19th Amendment. Women's suffrage. That means the right to vote. Of course, it was Wilson who was president. Okay. And in your own words, explain what the 19th Amendment did, and also use the word suffrage one more time, which means the right to vote. Go ahead and pause the video. All right, I'm moving on to the next one. The Clayton Antitrust Law, 1914, stopped companies from forcing exclusive deals, creating trust, price discrimination, etc. Which problem did it resolve? I'll give you a moment. Pause the video to make your selection. See if you're right. Okay, so if you chose number 6, monopolies gain control of industries, charging high prices because there's no competition, you are correct. Clayton Antitrust Act, 1914. And in your own words, describe what the antitrust. Remember, anti means against trusts, and trusts are another form of a monopoly. Okay. So in your own words, do not copy what's on the placard. Okay, pause if you need more time. All right, on to the next one. National Park Service, 1916, created to administer and regulate the nation's parks. Okay, so choose which one from the front and the back. Okay, so if you chose number 2, you are correct. Remember, TR, that conservation, conserving nature and natural beauty, and conservation was one of the sides of the square deal. Remember that from our notes on Teddy Roosevelt. Okay, in your own words, what do the national parks, what does the law say, and what's its impact? Of course, this one here preserves the natural beauty of America and to conserve natural resources. Pause if you need more time. Okay, moving right along. 18th Amendment. Prohibition. Notice that the root word is prohibit. Okay, prohibit. Prohibition, 1919. Ban the production, sale, or import of alcoholic beverages. Which problem does it resolve? Okay, so if you chose number 13, workers showed up to work or church drunk and harmed themselves or others, that is correct. America truly had a drinking problem at this time, but making it against the law will end up being a mistake, because it actually is going to create organized crime, and it just doesn't work. Okay, so 18th Amendment, 1919. This was Wilson. Okay, and I want you to put women were behind this, because they were the ones suffering when men, primarily it was men, out drinking it up and spending their paychecks and leaving women and children, left to fend themselves, and women got tired of the abuses and neglect, and they were behind this amendment. Of course, that makes women feel empowered, and then they end up saying, well, you know what, we can get some stuff done around here. Well, why not let's get the right to vote now. So that comes next. Okay? In your own words, what was the 18th Amendment? Pause the video if you need more time. Let's put women behind it. Women fought for. Okay? Alright? Okay. Let's go to the next one. Initiative. Now this one I'm just going to go ahead and explain it to you. The next three I'll just go ahead and explain to you. Well, let's see if you can figure it out. Initiative. Voters can put bills before the state legislature. Which one would that be for? Go ahead and pause the video if you want more time to figure out which one it is. Okay, this one goes, only members of the state legislature can introduce bills or, laws, pass laws to discuss and make into laws. This here gives people more power. So the initiative goes here. Which is, if you get a petition and you get enough signatures, okay, you can, all the way up to the state level, okay, these next three laws are only up to state level, not the federal level, so all the way up to a governor, okay, so any positions in the state up to the state governor, okay, these next three laws are dealing with, okay, so just up to the state government level. So if you want an initiative, like let's say Congress is not talking about things or an issue, and the people want it, so they can get enough signatures and say, hey, Congress, in our state it would be the state Congress in Austin, you need to introduce this idea for us and discuss it and make it into a law. You're avoiding it, and this is something we want. So we can force the hand of the Congress at the state level. If we get enough signatures, there's a certain amount you need in order to make it happen. But if you feel like the government needs to be talking about something and voting on something, you can make it happen if you get enough signatures. Okay? This here is the Populist Party idea. Thank the Populist Party. Okay? And it gives more people power through voting. It gives us more control over the government. Okay? People voting power. It gives the people the more control over what the government is doing. Okay? So that's called initiative. Put that in your own words. You can pause the video to you need more writing time. Okay? Okay, moving on to the next one. Okay, referendum. Okay? See if you can figure out which one this goes with. We're only down to like 4, so it should be getting easier. Okay, so referendum. Voters can vote on bills directly. It kind of sounds like the 17th Amendment when it comes to voting directly for our own senators. In this one, voters can vote on bills, which are laws, directly. Okay, you can pause the video if you need more time to figure out which one it is, and it is number 8. You probably already saw that. So referendum. Okay, referendum, once again, you need a petition with so many signatures in order for this to take place. And each state has its own laws on how many signatures you need to make it happen. So basically, it's saying that people can vote for a law through referendums. So it could be something as basic as this. When I was in Houston, we had a referendum on the Astrodome. We decided that we would get enough signatures, and we had a referendum so that the people could vote whether or not to keep the Astrodome, which we voted to keep it. So that was taking it out of the hands of the government, the local government, and we voted for it ourselves. that's more people power again, and you can thank the Populist Party. And a referendum is at the end of a ballot. Like when we vote next month in November, referendums usually come at the end. And it's stuff that people have asked to be placed on there through referendum, petition, and signatures. We want to vote on things ourselves. A lot of times it's like school bond, like to build school buildings and stuff like that too. Okay? So the Populist Party, and it's more people power, people voting power. Now, in your own words, explain what a referendum is. You can pause the video for writing time. Now, we're done on this first sheet, so we can keep it on the second side now. Okay? So here we go. Recall. Voters can remove elected officials from office. Which one would that be? And it's pretty easy. It's number 9. Here the problem is only courts or the legislator can remove corrupt politicians from office, but not anymore after the recall bill. A recall basically is like a recall vote. Okay, so or election, I should say. So let's say your governor is doing a bad job, or you feel like they're doing a bad job, and you want them to be removed before the next election. Just cannot wait because they're doing such a bad job. You can, once again, you got to get a petition and signatures, and you got to get a certain amount by law. They'll tell you how many you need to get, and you can actually fire, up to the governor. It happened in California. That's how Arnold Schwarzenegger got his job as governor. Because they had a recall election and Gray Davis was removed, and Arnold Schwarzenegger took the job. The people spoke. They basically fired Gray Davis. So here we go. So recall election, petition, signatures, up to the governor can be removed if you think they're doing a bad job. Now remember, this is Populist Party too. More people power. You just don't have room to write it. Okay. So basically, the Populist Party, and through initiatives, referendums, and recall, it gives more power. Gives more power to the people through voting. So our vote became more powerful with these 3 laws. Okay. So go ahead and write in your own words. What is a recall? Okay, secret ballot, private and secure voting. Of course, this one's pretty easy. It's number 10. Political bosses can find out who you voted for. Not anymore, thanks to the Populist Party. They introduced the idea of a secret ballot. And now you have, you don't even want your boss to know how you vote, because they may pass you up for a promotion. They may go, I don't like you anymore. So keeping your who you vote for secret is actually a pretty smart thing to do, especially if you own a business. Some people, you have the right to tell people who you vote for, but sometimes if you run a business, you might be making some of your customers mad when you tell them who you vote for. So it might be smart just to keep it a secret. Okay? So go ahead and explain here what the law says and the impact on you, in fact. Okay? All right, the last one, of course, is the Pendleton Civil Service Act. The problem was politicians used the spoil system to give government jobs to friends and supporters, but many of these problems lacked the qualifications necessary for doing a good job. So back in the day, spoil system was when politicians would give jobs to people who they know, and so some of these people would be inept. They really wouldn't even know how to do the job, but they got it because of who they know. Now, the Pendleton Civil Service Act says you have to take a test. It's not who you know, it's what you know now. And that way you get people who are qualified, and it takes that corruption out of the hands of politicians. Okay? So, and it's an exam for government jobs, okay? Instead of who you know. That's now illegal, okay? Okay, so go ahead and explain what the Pendleton Civil Service Reform. It's like the post office. You got to take the postal exam to get a job, and it's not who you know. You have to take a test. Okay. All right. So go ahead and explain the Pendleton Civil Service. Civil service means government jobs. Okay. So explain what the Pendleton says. People must pass an exam to prove they are competent before getting a government job. Put that in your own words. Lastly, on here. Directions. From the list of progressive laws above, decide one you believe is the most important and had the biggest impact on American society. Below, write a paragraph explaining why you think this law is the most important in progressive reform. Remember, you provide evidence. That means use something from your notes showing that you know what you're talking about. Okay? So finish this up, upload it if you are a virtual learner, and thank you for your hard work.